Christine Howey, actor and director. My first experience at Dobama was in 1968. I came in and just tried out for a show. Came in and there were like 2 or 3 people here. I got a role in a show. I had no lines, but I remember half of my face was painted black and half of it was white. And I was Luis. I can't remember a heck of a lot more about it, but that was my first experience. I guess my favorite memory at Dobama, well, when I was at Dobama, I was Richard Howey. I didn't transition as Christine until about 6 years after I stopped acting and directing at Dobama. My favorite experience, I guess, was probably playing Richard Nixon in An Evening with Richard Nixon. And this was put on right at a couple weeks before and a couple weeks after the '72 election, which was very fraught, if people at that time could remember. And I thought we were all in danger because it was a very anti-Nixon play. It was written by Gore Vidal, and it only used Nixon's actual words and words of people who knew him. Like I still remember it, one of Nixon's nurses said, when he was an infant, she said, he was just the kind of child you didn't want to pick up. So that was a great experience. I always played the heavies. I played Nixon, I played Robespierre, I played the devil, I played God, I played a homicidal maniac. I played pretty much all the heavies in about 25 plays. They were all directed by Marilyn or Don Bianchi. Marilyn was a terrifically warm and talented person. I was in musicals with her, and I couldn't sing. I was not a good singer. I could hold my own acting, but I couldn't sing very well. She was very nice, but I still remember I went up to her one time during a rehearsal. I had a singing role, and I was doing my best, but I said, Marilyn, would it be okay if you kind of dropped my song? And she said, okay. And I thought she'd say, oh, no, please, no, you're great. And but she did it very warmly and sweetly, and it was nice. Donald was a fantastic, imaginative, innovative director. He could take a script and just change it and bring out so many aspects that you wouldn't even think of when you were reading it. But he had all these little games he would play. I remember after one bad rehearsal, he would say, you guys, you just gotta do it. You just gotta do what I'm saying. You just gotta do it. You just have to know that you can do it. For instance, he had this denim jacket on, and he took it off, and he said, and he balled it up, and he said, if I wanted to, I could, and he was standing in the middle of the Dobama stage, and he said, if I wanted to, I could throw this, and if I wanted to hit the 3rd seat in the 2nd row over there, it would go right in that seat. And he balled it up and threw it 20 feet away, went in the 3rd seat of the 2nd row, just where he said. And it was like, we were all like, how do you do that? But he had a lot of energy and compassion, and he loved theater. We were all at that time acting for free. Nobody got paid, but it was just what we all loved, and his love just sort of sparked everything in us, what we believed in. Well, the one moment that stayed with me at that time and still stays with me, we were doing a play called The Resistible Rise of Arturo Ui by Bertolt Brecht. And in that play, the main character goes from being, a Charlie Chaplin character to Al Capone to Hitler. And it was just chilling. And at the end, he's Hitler, and I was one of his henchmen, and we were all gathered around him. And the last line of the play is referring to all the evil that he's done, but it was over. It says, we've stopped him now, but the bitch that bore him is in heat again. And I just got chills. That always hit me as an ominous, true expression of what we've been going through in this country for a long time, and we're going through it again right now. My favorite thing about Dobama, aside from the people, I met a lot of great friends in the years I was here acting and directing. But beyond that, it was the material. The material at the time, I'm talking about from 1969 to 1984, there weren't all these other theaters around doing innovative off-Broadway kind of shows. We were about the only one doing it. So it was very exciting at that point, because I was getting roles that, Dustin Hoffman and Al Pacino were doing in New York off Broadway, and here I was doing them, things like that. That's very exciting, challenging, and thought-provoking material. When it comes right down to it, it's all about people. This is a collaborative medium, artistic medium, and if you don't have great people to work with, it's quite a chore. And I had great experiences pretty much throughout all the plays, all the years I was working here. Well, it's important to the community and the region just because it has been doing this kind of innovative material for 60 years. And that's important. Telling stories is important. Theater is important. Live performances are important. It's important that people go to see a show that will never be the same again. Every time you go to a play, you're seeing something that will never be exactly repeated, ever. Of course, it's the same actors and the same lines, but it's always different. Every night is different. That's what's exciting about theater. You're creating it with the actors. Believe me, when you're on stage, you rely on the audience, and the audience guides you and helps you, and it's a great experience. A lot of people don't go to live theater, but I think if they did, they would be sold on it. There's nothing worse than a bad live theater production. There's nothing better than a great live theater production. It stays with you forever. Like, for me personally, it meant a lot to me just because I was going through a gender identity conflict for my whole life, and I actually thought that if I played enough guys on stage, I would get it. I would figure it out, because I was convincing everybody in the audience, but that's not how it turned out. But that was important for me, certainly at the time, to explore my identity. I think Cleveland is a great theater town. There's so much theater and a lot of quality theater. I think Dobama led the way. Dobama really carried the flag on that and said, we're doing plays you have never heard of. Will you commit to coming to our theater and seeing these shows? You haven't heard about it. This is not Hello Dolly. This is not, Music Man. These are shows you haven't heard of. At that time, we developed an audience that was willing to stay with us and buy subscriptions and say, yes, we want to see this kind of theater. And when they came and saw it, they were, kind of blown away because no one else was doing that kind of theater at the time. Now, other theaters are doing it. And I think Dobama helped foster that kind of, environment. And I'm so happy that other theaters are doing it also. When I was a theater critic for 20 years after I stopped acting, I saw all these shows, and yeah, it's happening in a lot of places, and that's great because there's a lot of incredible material out there. And it's nice now that they get paid. I think it's one of the treasures of Cleveland is the theater community. It doesn't get enough publicity, especially the smaller theaters. Playhouse Square gets a lot of publicity, and deservedly so, but there's so many other small theaters that are doing great work. It's so great for the community. Happy 60th anniversary, Dobama. As Don always said, love and respect.